following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Well, good morning. How are you this morning? It's Tuesday, and I'm sure you have a spring in your step today because that was what the weather does to us. What a lovely morning. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. If you want to get in contact with us to react to anything we're talking about on the programme today, you can call us on 016797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877989898. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to that same number, 0877989898. So, what have we got coming up amongst other things? No means no. In just a moment, well, no means no, but does it when it's a man saying no to a woman who's making unwanted sexual advances. This is exactly what is happening on a popular TV show Love Island at the moment. And a lot of people are up in arms about it. We'll be discussing that in just a moment. Also, how strict was your childhood? We'll be finding out what ridiculous things your parents wouldn't let you do when you were a kid. Also, this is a sad story. I'll be hearing from a man a little bit later on whose partner hasn't just had one, she has had 4 miscarriages in a row. We'll be hearing from this couple going through hell, and they're considering calling it quits because it's just too upsetting. 4 miscarriages, and they just find it really, really difficult to cope. We'll bring you that whole story a little bit later on. All that and much more between now and midday today. It's 98FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. And as I said, if you want to get in contact with us, send us a text or WhatsApp or voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, a debate has kicked off over why sexual assault or sexual harassment against men isn't taken as seriously as it is when that sexual assault or sexual harassment is by a man against a woman. Love Island, the TV show that is being watched by millions every night, is in the news over the behaviour of one of its female contestants, Irish woman Maura, and in particular her behaviour towards some of the men on the programme. Maura Higgins' behaviour towards fellow contestant Tommy Fury has sparked anger from Love Island viewers, not to mention English TV presenter Piers Morgan. I'll let you know what he said in a second. But let me just bring you some of the audio from Love Island. And in this little clip, you will hear Maura flirting with Tommy on Love Island. You will eventually hear
I'm still going to chat to you loads and get to know you because that's what I need to do. And then basically, whatever I'm feeling, my gut never lets me down.
What's your gut telling you?
Well, basically, I've
Get frisky under the covers.
Frisky under the covers?
Yeah.
Frisky under the covers with you?
No, here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Well,
Why do you look so shocked? Does she turn you on like I do? Does she?
you know you're sexy.
No, I don't.
Please.
No.
Please.
I wish we could just sleep out here together.
Isn't it cold?
Yeah, it is, but you could warm me up.
Could do, yeah.
Bet you could.
Okay, there she is. Yeah, well, you've heard that. And then in this clip, she's quite forward with Tommy on their first date.
I want to be a world champion.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. And
Sure you will be. With those arms.
You better have that shirt on. I know what I want. And I'm in here. I'm genuinely looking for someone. I'm not
Do you want me?
Huh?
Do you want me?
Gift wrap.
Yes. Family soulmate. He's smiling now. I swear to God, the things I would do to that man.
The things I would do to that man. And then in this final clip, Maura tries to kiss Tommy.
I am on the sofa tonight because, I feel like if I jumped in bed with Molly, it'd give her false hope or whatever, and if I jumped in the day bed with Maura, it'd give her false hope. I just don't want anything like that.
Aw, you're lonely. You don't want a kiss? Just a peck?
No. Give me on the cheek.
Yeah, you do.
Right, okay, you're getting the picture here. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797981. And the point of the conversation is the double standards that seems to exist when it comes to sexual harassment by women on men. Not about the show per se, but why it isn't taken as seriously when it is a woman sexually harassing a man. And I'll give you an example of something that actually happened to me the other night, which made me feel extremely uncomfortable. I'll tell you that story in a second. But let me just have a listen to what Piers Morgan had to say about those double standards.
What part of no means no? What part did he not communicate there? I mean, it's clear, premeditated assault, isn't it? I mean, she has to be dragged out of there and arrested. I mean, this is the new rule, right? This is look at this.
Well, I think the implication is if a man had done the same thing to a woman, if a man had done the same thing to a woman, it wouldn't have been acceptable.
She's known as Maura the Predator, right? Most of the complaints have been about her and her appalling attack on poor Tommy as he lay there. I think if this was a bloke, she'd be out of there, she'd be arrested, it'd be career ruined. Maura the Predator.
No, but it's not fine because there's been hundreds of complaints about it.
Still in there.
Yeah.
She's still in there. No means no, right?
No means no. Anyhow, I would love to hear from you on this on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. Why are there such clear double standards when it comes to sexual harassment by a woman against a man? And as Piers Morgan clearly said there, if it were the other way around, if it were a man demanding a kiss, if it were, he described it as clear premeditated assault. And if it were the other way around, he would have been booted off the programme and would have been arrested. Call me now on 6797981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. I was out the other night and a woman approached me and she was extremely drunk. Now, I was out in an area with a big group. But this woman approached me very, very drunk and started putting her arms around me and being inappropriate is the best. Anyway, the point is, I shoved her away and I was accused of being rude. I was accused of being obnoxious. Who the F do you think you are? But all I did was shove her away because I wasn't interested and she made me feel very uncomfortable. Now, had that been the opposite, had that been me doing that to a woman, I would have been arrested. Yet when I pushed this woman away and said, no, please go away from me, I was called an obnoxious you-know-what. I would like to talk about those double standards. Our telephone number is 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Niamh, you're on Dublin's 98FM. Hiya, Niamh.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Well, Niamh, what did you want to say on this?
There's obvious clear double standards. I mean, first of all, he said no. It's clear.
He did.
He said no. And there's another guy on that programme, Sharif, who has been kicked out. And the reason he was kicked out was because he accidentally kicked a girl in a certain area of her body. Mm-hmm. But the point of why he was kicked out was because of what he said afterwards. He made a comment basically saying, I obviously can't use the words he said, but I scored a certain point, and it was a particular word that he used, which was seen as derogatory towards her, and he's gone. And he was stupid to say what he said, but it was an accidental. He accidentally kicked her.
It sounds kind of similar to the incident on Big Brother last year, where it was an accident as well. Okay, so your point is that there are clear double standards here.
I think there are. I mean, I don't know. Predator seems like a harsh word to use about her. You know, she is getting a terrible time. She's been absolutely destroyed on social media, in fairness. She is very forward. She says what she just seems to have been born without a filter. She says what she thinks without thinking about it. She's very overtly sexual towards towards a lot of the guys. I mean, she's forgotten about your man Tommy now. She forgot about him the minute he went off with somebody else, and now she's on to somebody else. She's, I don't know if you'd call it confidence. She's very confident. She's gorgeous, and she's got a great personality. She doesn't need to be like this. But what she did with him, at the time when I watched it, I was cringing for her. But afterwards, when you kind of watch it, you can hear him saying no.
Okay, and here's what Piers Morgan said again. What part of no means no did Tommy not communicate there? It's clear premeditated assault. She had to be dragged out. She has to be dragged out of there and arrested. If it was a bloke, she'd be out of there. She'd be arrested. Career ruined. No means no.
Well, I think when it comes to a programme like this, no only seems no if the ratings aren't good. And she has absolutely tripled our ratings. People are watching it purely to see what she's going to do next. It was quite slow. They were a nice enough group of people, but they weren't doing much. And then she walked in and blew the place apart. And now everyone's watching, thank God, and no one's talking about anyone else except her. So
all right. So your point is this is good for television ratings.
Oh, it's excellent for television ratings, but it's really bad for the fact that this guy said no, and if it had been him, he'd be gone.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. Now, this is what I want to talk about those double standards. That, again, the example I can give you that happened to me the other night where I pushed a girl away. She was pissed out of her head and she was putting her arms all over me, and I just said, no, please go away, and I was called an obnoxious you-know-what. But had it been a woman, not only would she have said go away, she'd have screamed out and called people over. Listen, look what that fella's after doing to me. Now, this is the point that I'm trying to make here, that it seems to be okay for women to sexually harass men, but not the other way around.
Well, if that was you, the other way around, you wouldn't be on radio today.
That's exactly the point. That's exactly my point. And instead, for saying no to this lady, to pushing her, well, not pushing her away, but kind of gesticulating for her to get away from me, I was called an obnoxious you-know-what. And very vocally. Who the F do you think you are, you obnoxious you-know-what? But again, like you said, if that had been me doing that to her, I wouldn't be on the radio today. You're dead right. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from John. He's talking about modern-day feminists.
Adrian, on this issue, feminists and women, they want equality, but only on certain issues and when it suits them. They don't want equality across the board, and that's a fact.
All right, and then Tracy says this is all being blown out of proportion.
Adrian, you have to remember, we only see a few minutes of that programme, and Tommy, for the few days, was actually leading her on and letting her know that he was interested in her. So I think this is kind of being blown out of proportion, to be fair. I really do. We only do see a few minutes of like a 24 or a 48-hour day. You know, I just think it is being blown out of proportion.
Call me right now on 6797 981. You can send us a text or WhatsApp or a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Ian is in Glasnevin. You're on 98FM. Ian, how are you?
How's it going, Adrian?
Now, Ian, what did you want to say on this?
I just think this as well. I think if we should be talking about that, and it should be about Joe, how he's speaking to Lucy on the show, and not more how she's getting on with Tommy.
And what is he saying?
He's manipulating. He's more or less telling her that she has to get on with the girls and be friends with the girls. The girl is not a girl's girl; she's a man's girl. So she gets on with Tommy, and he's just paranoid out of his head.
Now, okay, what about the point that has been made by Piers Morgan, where he's basically saying that this is a clear, premeditated assault. She should be dragged out of there and arrested.
Well, we all know Piers Morgan's an idiot. We all know that. But no, I don't think so. I think we live in the 20th now. We're 2019. That's the way life is. People are honest.
Oh, so it's okay for a woman to sexually harass a man, and for him to say no when she tries to kiss him?
He's not sexually harassing him. Tell me how she sexually harassed him.
Because she demanded a kiss off him and he said no, and she kept up and she kept up. If that was a man doing it to a woman, there'd be murder.
Well, it's not sexually harassment. I think we're really blowing this out of proportion now. Is it because she's an Irish girl and the English are just making bad press about her, because Yvonne, I think personally,
it's nothing to do with her being Irish. I don't even think that's even been vaguely mentioned. I
was listening to a programme the other day now, and it was the women's rights were coming out speaking about how Joe was speaking to Lucy, and I don't hear this on your show, but yeah, I hear about it with Maura and Tommy.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 6797981 is our telephone number. Let me read this message from Joe, and he says, women move the goalposts all the time to suit their agenda. Okay. Any man accused, even when innocent, will lose everything. Any woman caught, it's pushed under the carpet. Men are afraid these days to engage with women in case of what's being said or being accused, says Joe. Call me right now on 6797-981. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. As I said, Piers Morgan, let me just play the clip of Piers Morgan again, where he's basically calling for this woman to be arrested. Maura Higgins we're talking about in Love Island, and her behaviour towards fellow contestant Tommy Fury. It sparked anger. There have been 800 complaints to Ofcom in the UK. And the Good Morning Britain presenter hit out at the double standards when it comes to women forcing themselves on men. Oh, hang on now. If I could press the right button, you'll actually be able to hear it.
What part of no means no? What part did he not communicate there? I mean, it's clear premeditated assault, isn't it? I mean, she has to be dragged out of there and arrested. I mean, this is the new rule, right? This is, look at this.
Well, I think the implication is if a man had done the same thing to a woman...
traumatised.
If a man had done the same thing to a woman, it wouldn't have been acceptable.
She's known as Maura the Predator, right? Most of the complaints have been about her and her appalling attack on poor Tommy as he lay there. I think if this was a bloke, she'd be out of there, she'd be arrested, it'd be career ruined. Maura the Predator.
No, but it's not fine because there's been hundreds of complaints about it.
She's still in there.
Yeah.
She's still in there. No means no. Right?
Okay, no means no. Call me right now on 6797-981. And I'd also love to hear from men. Have you ever had an unwanted advance from a woman? And how did you deal with it? 6797-981.
98FM's
Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98FM.
Over 800 complaints have been received by Ofcom, which is the television regulator in the UK, over Maura the Predator. And that's how she's been described. This is Maura Higgins. She's Irish. She's in the current series of Love Island. And it's her behaviour towards fellow contestant Tommy Fury that has sparked anger from a number of viewers. For example, Piers Morgan said, what part of no did Tommy not communicate there? It's clear, premeditated assault. She should be dragged out of there and arrested. Where am I going next? John, you're on 98FM. How are you, John?
Hey, Adrian.
John, we're talking about double standards and how if a woman harasses a man, it seems to just get brushed off. If it's the other way around, there's murder over it.
Yeah, I think it's double standards all over. I think it's just society at the minute, isn't it? It's just the Harvey Weinstein thing. Every man's a predator. Every woman wants equal rights when it suits them, and it's just gone a bit AWOL, it has.
Right, do you think it's gone far too far in the other extreme?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There were only the other day you had to think about weddings. Girls didn't want their fathers giving them away because it was giving them away, but yet they still want the man spending so much on the ring, and they want him getting down on his knee. The courts will tell you the same. Any bloke will tell you down the trial court is the same. It's double standards gone nuts.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, not to go on about it because it wasn't that big a deal, but what I was telling you about what happened to me the other night, and I felt extraordinarily uncomfortable with this woman and the way she was carrying on, to the point that I had to get away for fear that because this woman was so drunk, this could literally turn on its head in seconds if I in any way responded to her, so it was easier to just push her away.
And then you're still in the wrong because she's a woman.
Yeah, and I was in the wrong. She called me an obnoxious you-know-what.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't when you're a man in society at the minute.
And that's how you feel about it?
Yeah, big time.
The pendulum has swung so far in the other direction now?
It's like that as well. It's like they talk about women and equal rights with the pay. Look, a woman can get 6 months off. She wants to come back and do the same and get the exact same money and the exact same job. It's like a man. A man doesn't miss his. I'm here and work all day now, and I don't miss my kid. It's nuts.
Yeah, all right. Stay there for a second. Let me read out this message from Andy. I've been driving a taxi years. And when I was on nights, you always got women touching you up. And when I said stop, you'd be told you must be gay. What's your problem? If it was the other way around, I'd be arrested. Can't talk, picking up a job, says Andy. And that's the point that the exact point that I was making, that when this drunk woman started putting her arms around me and everything else the other night, and I said, no, please go away, I was called an obnoxious... And she shouted it so that everybody could actually hear what she was calling me. Sabrina, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Sabrina.
Hiya.
Now, Sabrina, what did you want to say?
No, I just left a comment. I haven't actually been listening to the show because I'm not free at the moment to listen to it. But I do think, it's a bit embarrassing to watch. Like, obviously, first of all, you have to think we're from Ireland, so it's embarrassing to watch, to know
what, she's embarrassing us, is she?
Oh, yeah, of course she is. To know that someone from Ireland is in there and they're doing that and everyone is just talking about it. It's not even good talk, it's bad talk. Yeah. And then second of all, obviously it's embarrassing, and it's actually it's quite cringy to watch. Like to think if you were in the boys' position, you know, you just want to just take them out of that position. Like, imagine being a girl and someone coming over and doing that to you.
That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
That if it were the other way around, it would be front page news, and even though Maura's been called Maura the Predator, if it were the other way around and it was a man being called a predator, he'd be branded for life then.
Yeah, of course, there'd be uproar about it, of course.
So you see it as complete double standards here?
Yeah, of course. Like, what if she was out at a nightclub and she was doing that out at a nightclub? You know, what would you say to her? Like, you know, men don't really... They probably won't speak up as much as what a woman would, you know. But if you're
again, like I said, when I spoke up and said no, please go away, I was called an obnoxious dickhead. Like I was, and she shouted it at me as if I'd done something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I just said no, I'm not interested. Go away, please. And,
it's just crazy.
All right, so here, what do you say to this message then that's just come into us? And it says, women have been dealing with this carry-on for so many years that people just don't have the same sympathy for men when it happens. Also, a man is generally stronger than a woman, so it wouldn't really be looked upon as very serious. That's a double standard even in itself, isn't it?
Exactly, like what's he meant to do? You know what I mean? Grab her and fling her across the room, like... And then he's in the wrong because he's after taking her away from him. Like, it's not, you know.
So as Steve
was on the couch and she came to him. That was where he was.
That's right, yeah.
Where he was. So she should have just took the hint that he didn't want it. He turned his head like it's not like he went for it. He turned his head several times. So she should have taken the hint and just walked away.
And you do see it as being
in minutes to go into the bed with her.
Yeah, and you do see it as being a bit predatory.
Oh, of course, definitely.
All right, there's a lot of reaction to this. Let me just squeeze in a little bit more. Thanks, Sabrina. Peter says, I think male sexual harassment on women is much more dangerous, as if a woman says no, a man can physically force himself on her. A female will be unable to overpower a male, so it's not as bad, in my opinion, says Peter. Really? So this is all to do with the fact that men are a little bit bigger than women? That's a load of rubbish, Peter. That's a load of rubbish. But let's find out how big a problem this is. I want to find out from men. Do you feel that in the past year you were in any way sexually harassed by a woman? Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. And the circumstances, if you can, of what happened. That you were in a situation where you felt a little bit uncomfortable. That she wasn't taking no for an answer. That she was... not forcing herself on you, but, you know, being fairly insistent. Call me now on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. But Peter, back to your point about it being to do with being more physical than women. That's just not true. That's not the reason. Men feel, and I can tell you, I felt a little bit intimidated and a little bit uncomfortable. And when I said no and I moved the woman away, I was called all sorts of names. Now, she was just being friendly or over-friendly, but her over-friendliness involved wrapping her arms around my neck and wanting to stand there talking to me, and I just wasn't having any of it. I really wasn't, because I just felt extremely uncomfortable. But even, and I think men feel this as well, you feel uncomfortable saying no nearly, because then you're called rude, I didn't mean anything by it, and it's just an awful mess. Let me read. Can't actually believe that you're giving this airtime, says this message. It's a reality show. Garbage. Ratings is all they're after. Contestants told what to do to stir it up. It's not real life, for God's sake. The more it's discussed on the media, the more they will stir it up. Not worth your show's great time. That's not what this is really about, to be quite honest with you. This is about the fact that there are complete and utter double standards when it comes to women harassing men as opposed to men harassing women. Lorna sent this message to us, and she says, I think Maura is giving a great lesson to young girls, because she has been rejected by Tommy for offering it on a plate, and now the new boy that she was trying it on with has said that he's interested in somebody else, says Lorna. And Steve, your point is, why is there not more outrage about this?
Yeah, Adrian, why isn't the likes of Gillette and all jumping on the back of this now this morning?
That's a good question, actually. That's a very good question.
This bothers me big time. People are a bit naive to think that it's not going on for God knows how long, Adrian. When I was young, without sounding too big-headed here or anything, I carry a decent package in anyhow, right? But all the girls knew about it. And I'd be getting hung out on the dance floor every weekend. Now, if I had turned around and did the exact same to a woman, I'd be charged with all sorts. And you only have to go out at the weekend, Adrian, and look at hen parties, the way they go on. And
it seems to be perfectly okay. And I have seen, not all, but I have seen the carry-on of some hen parties, and they're literally mauling the men as they walk into a bar or wherever they happen to be, in Galway or wherever they are, and seem to think it's perfectly okay, where if you turn it on its head and it's a stag party and they start mauling women walking into a bar, they'd be barred, they'd be arrested, there would be absolute murder.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with men. They seem to don't get as offended as women about it, but I certainly do, Adrian, because I think it's awful that men are treated this way, and we're all seen as predators.
And you're right, we don't complain when it happens. I certainly didn't complain about that woman the other night. You know, what was I going to do? Call the guards? No, I wasn't going to. But I was made to feel extremely uncomfortable.
Listen, there was times I couldn't get up on the dance floor because there was young ones on the floor that were either being swinging at me. So that was happening every week, Adrian. And absolutely every week it happened to me. That I'd be dancing on the dance floor. Next of all, a pair of arms would come around me and start grabbing me by me, you-know-what.
And that was considered perfectly okay?
Well, it wasn't with me, but what could you do?
All right, let me read out a couple of messages before we wrap this up. Adrian, I was in the same situation as you, where years ago in a nightclub afterwards, a woman did the same thing. I did shove her away, and she had a little stumble on the ground. She got back up, not a problem. Later on, over her friend's description of me, I got arrested. But it never went any further. So after giving my information in the station, and I got a search, about 2.5 hours later, I was released. And that was just because he said, no, I'm not interested. Please go away from me. And another message. This is very clearly assault. Women want superiority, not equality. It's shocking carry on. And in fact, Ellie, you think exactly that this was clearly assault.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't understand how it's being so played down. And I definitely agree, if it was the other way around, if Tommy had pushed himself on more like that this would be everywhere. You know, and I see people are texting in saying to you, you know, she's going, or, you know, even in the papers or social media, she's going after what she wants. If somebody says, no, you are not entitled to go after what you want, regardless of whether you're male or female. And if it was a male, it would be a completely...
This would definitely be front page news.
Absolutely.
And even the fact that this woman has been nicknamed Maura the Predator, if that were a bloke, his life would be ruined to have that name attached to him.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know whether, you know, people are finding it funny, Maura the Predator. Like, that's you know, I just think in this day and age, when we talk about equality and women want equality, is it equality they're looking for, or is it to be on a pedestal where they can do, and like I'm saying this as a woman myself, that, you know, do they want to be able to do things that is deemed completely unacceptable for a man to do, and say, oh...
But yes, it appears, yes. You just heard Steve there describing how, and I've seen it myself, I've seen the carry-on of some hen parties, and a group of lads will walk in, and they go over and start mauling them, and if it were the other way around...
Yeah, could you imagine a stag doing it?
It would, yeah, I know. All right, let me just read out a couple more messages. Literally on Saturday night, one of my friend's girlfriends started touching me and asking me to tell her what I'd do to her if she wasn't with him. I was extremely uncomfortable. I couldn't get out of the situation because she was rather small compared to me. I'm 6'2", she's around 5 foot tall. I didn't want to move her as it would turn heads, so I literally was pinned to a high stool and her in between my legs, nearly gobbing me. Huge double standard, says that message. Dave says, I was on a stag one night and we ran into a hen party. I'm not easily intimidated, but the carry-on of these ladies was disturbing. All I wanted was a good night out with the boys, not having my arse and crotch grabbed by random women, says Dave. And finally, a WhatsApp voice note from Cora, who's basically saying women have had to deal with this for years.
Hi, Adrian. Women have been dealing with men groping them for years. I remember one night I nearly broke a fella's wrist in coppers because he was the third lad that night to grab my bum. Men have forever thrown themselves on women on a night out. I don't think it's right what Maura did, but 9 times out of 10, a man would have jumped at the chance to get a kiss off her. She clearly wasn't used to rejection.
Okay, and then finally, Killian, give over, please. My God, how can you categorise Maura as a predator? She tried getting a kiss, it was hardly assault. Where do you draw the line? That fool Piers Morgan putting her in the same category as someone who violently forces themselves onto someone else. This is someone's life we are messing with, says Killian. Anyway, thanks very much indeed for all of your calls, comments, texts and opinions.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98.
I'm here and Jeremy is there and we want to talk to you about...
your childhood, really.
Yeah, your childhood.
And how strict it was.
Yeah, that's what we want to talk about.
We were discussing this before the show and it appears that Adrian, it was basically a lawless house. That
No. I did think of one. We're talking about... rules that your parents had for you when you were growing up,
or things that you just weren't allowed to do.
Yeah, that made you feel kind of left out from your friends. Or I'll give you an example, and in fact this time of the year reminds me of it every year. Okay, lovely long bright nights.
Oh, what were you not allowed to?
9:30. That was it. In bed.
Oh, that was the time.
9:30. I always remember it. 9:30. In bed. Good night. And you'd look out your window and it's still bright and all of your friends are still out playing.
Was this on a school night or in the middle of the summer?
Summer. Yeah.
So hang on, Betty Kennedy.
9:30.
Standing at the door.
Good luck, bed.
But it doesn't get dark till...
I can remember walls being built out our back garden with all of the houses, yeah? I'm looking out the window and seeing everybody doing it except us.
Poor Adrian.
But that was the rule that we had. That was it. 9:30, bed, good luck, good night.
Now, there are several things that I wasn't allowed to do as a child. I'm not going to name one of them because it's just very, very embarrassing.
Well, go on, name that one then.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
We weren't allowed in our family until I was about 16 years of age. We weren't allowed to have Chinese food.
Why?
Now, my family aren't racist. They've nothing against... It was in different times. And back then, my parents were convinced that Chinese food was all dogs and cats. And they used to say to me, is there any... Because the Chinese opened up the road from us. And what are you laughing at? I know.
This is actually for real.
Yeah, it is for real, 100%. You told me to say this, so...
You weren't allowed to eat Chinese food for fear of what might actually be in it.
Okay, Chinese, in the 80s, Chinese takeaways weren't everywhere. They weren't to a penny. There was, if you had a Chinese takeaway in your area, you were very, very lucky. And I remember a Chinese opening in our area to much acclaim. Everybody was like, oh my God, we have a local Chinese. And I remember turning around to my parents one day. I was about 12 years of age, and I said, can me and my sister get a Chinese takeaway? No, you're not eating dogs and cats. No. But they were convinced. A lot of people were back in the day. I mean, we know better now. It was innocent times there. And that's
bizarre. That's the most bizarre rule I ever heard in the house ever in my life.
The first Chinese meal that I actually had, I was about 17 years of age. And because they literally turned me off Chinese.
Right.
Now, the other rule that we had in place was I wasn't allowed... remember when you were a kid, they did no water guns when you were a kid to play in the summertime. So you'd fill up a fairy washing up liquid bottle. I wasn't. I was the only... It's actually quite sad bringing this up.
You were the only...
I was the only kid in my estate that wasn't allowed use one of those water squirters.
Why?
Because my mother said that if I got wet with one of the water squirters and I didn't come in and dry myself, I'd get pneumonia.
All right, we would love to hear from you.
What are you laughing at the way my mother brought me up? Did the light turn up?
You didn't turn out all right. You're the most screwed up man I know.
And that's because of my parents.
Yeah. We'd like to hear from you on 6797981. I want to know what rules you had in your house when you were growing up that you hated, that you despised your parents for, that you thought was just so unfair. Like Rachel said earlier on, she wasn't allowed to eat sweets. Ever?
That was standard in most houses, wasn't it?
No,
really.
No.
Anything goes in Kennedy household, is it?
Well, we weren't barred from eating sweets.
Were you allowed to have hard-boiled ones even?
Any old sweet.
Anything, yeah.
What rule did you have in your home growing up that you hated? Call us right now on 6797981. Text, WhatsApp or send a voice note to 0877 98 98 98. And we have a pair of IMC movie passes to give away.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
With Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors. Where quality flooring costs less.
98FM.
I've just gotten a message there and it just reminded me of something. It all came flooding back to me as soon as I read the message. And it is this. When I was younger, we had to go to Mass. We couldn't miss Mass. So we'd have turns sending one of our friends into the church to find out what the sermon was all about so you could go home and tell your mammy.
You get the missalette in the basket.
No, that's not the sermon. No. Well, yeah, we used to hang around the church but not go into the Mass. Right, but one of us would go in just to hear what the priest was rabbiting on about, and then if you were asked, now you were never asked, but if you were asked, you'd say, oh yeah, he was talking about whatever it was he was talking about, and you might have the missalette in your pocket as well.
By the way, it was the same discussion every week. The prodigal son. That's all our church. That's all the priest.
Anyhow, so yes, you had to go to Mass, but if you were bunking off Mass, you'd send one of the lads in to find out what was going on. Or what priest even said the Mass.
So you'd be all out the back of the church smoking. You'd send Johnny in.
That's basically it, yeah.
Johnny in for 20 minutes.
But Johnny did go in. David go in next week. We'd have turns, basically, to find out what was going on. My brother and I couldn't go to teenage discos, says Damien. Our parents assumed that there was drinking involved and they didn't want us to participate.
Yeah, they were dead right.
There's no drinking involved in teenage discos.
Hello.
Me and my sister weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons when we were younger, says Ciara, because my mum said it was an adult's cartoon.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
It's not for kids.
Why is it on at such early times in the day?
It's not for kids.
Anyway, we want to hear what rules you had in your house that annoyed you, that you felt really, really... Aggrieved by, that's it. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. You can also send us a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. What rules did you have when you were a child that you feel aggrieved by to this very day? Marco, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Marco?
Morning, guys.
Hey, Marco. Now, Marco, bedtimes were very strict in your house.
Oh, yeah. 9 o'clock in the summer, I had to be in bed by, and 8:30 in the winter.
Sorry, what time during the summer?
Summer, 9 o'clock, and 8:30 in the winter.
That's pants.
Oh, that is.
That went on till I was 16. So, it wasn't just...
Hang on, whoa. So hang on, 15-year-old Marco had to be in bed at 9 o'clock in the middle of summer?
Oh, yeah. It got to the point where my friends would make fun of me that if I met a girl, what would I do? I wouldn't be allowed out of the house by, at 9 o'clock. So.
Where did you grow up?
Albania.
Albania?
Well, Albania, partially in Ireland.
Well, I tell you, there's prisoners in Mountjoy Prison that have more freedom than you at the moment, isn't there?
Sure.
Isn't there, Adrian?
Wow, that's unbelievable, right? So, okay, you had to be in bed at 8:30 during the winter and at 9 o'clock during the summer. And I don't know about Albania, but how late? I know here in the middle of summer it's nearly 11 o'clock before it gets dark. How late does it get dark in the middle of summer in Albania?
About 11.
About 11 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And was it because where were you from? Tirana? That's the capital of Albania.
I know that, yeah.
Are the streets of Tirana very dangerous that you had to be in at night?
Not really. I mean, there was a point in time, but, it wasn't, it was safe enough.
All right. Okay, that's 15 years of age in bed at 9 o'clock in the middle of summer.
When all your mates are out playing.
When I was younger, says Michael, and I wanted to go out with my friends, my parents would always say, go and clean your room, and when it's done, you can go out. Every time I thought I had it done, my mum would come up and look and say that that's not the way I would have done it. Do it again. And by the time I had it done, the way she would have had it, she would do it, it was too late and I had to go to bed. How frustrating. Sue, you're on 98FM. How are you, Sue?
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you, Sue. Sue, what rules did you have that you resented?
On a Friday night, my mum and dad used to make us kneel down and say the rosary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I think it was on a Tuesday, where I lived in Glasgow, on a Tuesday, we had to go to the altar in Eden Villas, and we had to pray to her, the Virgin Mary. She's still there, by the way.
And how long does the rosary, because I've never said the rosary, how long does the rosary last for?
Long enough.
Oh, it goes, you know the rosary beads, you have to say a prayer for each one of them.
Wow, that's
and were they very
tedious, I have to say. Saying the rosary is a bit tedious.
And were they very religious, or what was the story?
I think that, yeah, they were, but they weren't, mad religious. We went to church, and my dad was from Rinsend, and my mother was from Glasgow, and we all were dressed well, and, we just went down to the
but you had to say the rosary every Friday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I only found out there last week, I can't believe I didn't realise this before, that a decade of the rosary is 10 prayers.
It's 10 Hail Marys.
I never knew it was 10.
Well, decade means 10.
That's where the word decade comes from.
Obviously.
I never knew that. So it's 10 Hail Marys in a row.
Yeah, but if you follow the rosary beads, you do it about 5 times.
And is it the same prayer over and over and over again?
It's tedious.
But why would you say the same thing over and over again?
Well, you just do. I was at a funeral a couple of months back, and we did the rosary. I thought it'd never end.
And Sue, do you resent your parents for making you do the rosary on a Friday?
Oh, no, not at all. My parents were beautiful. I love them with all my heart. They're gone now, but...
all right. Well, okay, that's your memory as a child. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Stephen.
My parents wouldn't allow me to have an ice cream when the ice cream van arrived on my road. I'd never understand why from this day on, but that was the law in my house for some weird reason.
No ice cream ever?
Parents didn't need to give a reason. Remember, they used to say, why can't I have ice cream? Just because.
You just can't.
You just can't. That's the answer.
All right, call us right now on 6797 981. What rules did you have in your house growing up that you still resent to this day?
98
Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98FM's Dublin Talks. And Trish is here with Tuesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Dublin City Councillors have agreed not to sell public land to private developers for housing for the next 5 years. The so-called Dublin Agreement runs until 2024 and was signed off last night. A tribunal for women affected by the cervical check controversy is set to get the go-ahead by the government. The outline of the bill will be brought to Cabinet today. It would mean that women could have their cases heard without having to go to court. Former UEFA President Michel Platini has been arrested as part of an investigation into the awarding of the 2022 World Cup to Qatar. He was taken into custody this morning, according to Mediapart. Discussions will take place today between the HSE and SIPTU on backup plans for Thursday's strike by 10,000 health workers. They include chefs, porters and maternity care assistants who will walk off the job in a row over pay. And Portmarnock Golf Club is to hold a vote on changing its men-only policy by the end of the year. The club has come under pressure from golf's governing body to let women join. And now you're up to date on 98.
Thank you, Trish.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98.
Now, we all had them when we were younger, and some of us remember them to this day. And I'm talking about rules that you had in your house growing up and how they, well, you still remember them. Here's a WhatsApp voice note from Dave.
When I was a young fella, about 11 years of age, Michael Jackson's Thriller was debuting on TV. Myself and all my mates were chucked out of the house by our parents, and the curtains were pulled in the front room. We weren't allowed to watch it, and we were all raging. But we got to see it looking through the crack in the curtains.
And here's another message, kind of similar. This goes back to the 80s as well. When I was a kid, there was a show on TV called V. And if I remember rightly, that was about aliens or lizards or something like that. Anyway, the show was about aliens who come to Earth. And my friends all watched it, but I wasn't allowed. It used to kill me to hear my friends talking about it the next day, says Peter. And let me see. When I was younger, we had to drink a pint of milk with our dinner, and we weren't allowed to down it quickly because it was to be drank over the course of the meal. So you had to have a pint of milk with your dinner. Now, I still love having milk with my dinner, but you had to. Tanya, you're on 98FM. How are you, Tanya?
Hi, how are you?
Good, Tanya. What rule did you have?
So we weren't allowed to eat peanut butter because my mom didn't like the smell of it. So we used to sneak into our neighbours, and she used to give us bread and peanut butter all the time.
Really? That's mad. Here's a weird one for you, right? I love peanuts, yeah? I love salted peanuts. I'd eat them till they come out my ears. But I hate peanut butter. I also hate the smell of it. Yet I love peanuts. And I assume peanut butter is just crushed peanuts, isn't it?
I suppose, yeah. But I even eat the smooth one, so...
All right, so you'd eat any type of peanut butter?
Yeah.
All right, very good. But because your mammy didn't like the smell of it, none of you ever had peanut butter in the house. You had to go next door.
Yeah, to the neighbours and sneak in and get bread and peanut butter.
Very good. All right, thanks, Tanya. Mary, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Mary.
Hi, how's it going?
Now, this is a rule that your friend had.
No, it wasn't what a friend had. We used to have a chipper van come into the estate on a Friday and a Saturday night.
Right.
And a gang of us, we were only about 9 or 10, used to go over for our bag of chips.
Okay.
But one of the lads, he was never allowed. But his mum used to make chips at home and put them in a brown paper bag for him. So he could sit with us and have his chips, but...
Oh, it's not the same thing.
It's not, but it made him feel part of it, I think.
So you'd all be eating your chipper chips out of the chip van, and he'd be sitting there with a bag of chips that his mammy made.
Homemade bag of chips.
And did he even have a
bag?
She actually provided the brown paper bag?
Oh, she got the bag. She used to get the bag for him and put them in the bag. He'd come out the door with the bag of chips.
Oh, that's awful. And come here, were his chips as nice as yours?
I don't know. I never tasted them.
Did they look as nice?
No,
they weren't frozen chips, and you were eating lovely fresh chips, were they?
No, they weren't frozen ones. They were homemade ones.
Oh, right.
The chipper man used to put salt and vinegar on them for him.
That's awful. All right, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
I was force-fed liver every Thursday for dinner. I hated it with a passion. And let me see. When I was... lads, not being allowed hang around the local shops with your friends because your mother didn't approve. And one final WhatsApp voice note from Matt.
That's the story, Adrian. I think the biggest lie most parents told years ago was when the ice cream van was playing music, means he was out of ice cream. Genius. I actually forgot about that. I should have used it on my own kids during the year. Anyway, great show.
Are kids that stupid that they fell for that? If he's playing music, there's no ice cream. Sure, why would he come into the estate if there's no ice cream? What's the point? Why would an ice cream man possibly drive into a cul-de-sac playing his music just to let everyone know that he had no ice cream? It makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, thanks very much indeed for all your calls. Enjoyed that. This is 98FM.
98FM. Dublin Talks.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, I want to change gear a little bit for the next bit of our programme because it's kind of upsetting, actually. We've a heartbreaking Facebook message that was sent to us over this past weekend on the subject of miscarriages. And what's unique about this is that this message is actually coming from a man. 14,000 women miscarry every year in Ireland. It often goes unnoticed, and the women suffering the miscarriages are often forgotten about. And today we want to focus on how having a miscarriage, or several, can mentally drain a couple and put them off trying again. Now, this particular listener wants to be known as G, just simply G. And as I said, this message was sent in to us through our Facebook page over this past weekend. And you can do the same, by the way, if you want to get in contact with us. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. You just type that into the address bar of your browser and it'll bring you straight to it. So it's facebook.com/Adrian K and AND Jeremy D. If you type that in, that'll bring you straight to our Facebook page, and you can join the tens of thousands of people who have already clicked like on our page if you haven't done so yet. So once again, it's facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Anyhow, according to G in his message, his partner, having had 4 miscarriages in the last 5 years, has put a huge strain on their relationship. His partner is feeling very down about it and considering not trying again because she can't put herself through the heartache. I want you to have a listen to this mail and ask you this question. What advice have you got for this man if you've ever been in this situation? Have a listen. Anyway, here's what he says. I've never contacted you or any radio show before, but I'm at my wit's end. Myself and my partner have been trying for a baby for over 5 years, and she has miscarried 4 times. It's been heartbreaking for us and is putting a huge strain on us. My partner is feeling very down. We were convinced that this time everything would be okay, but unfortunately she miscarried again back in April, and it broke my heart to see her smile turn to desperation. She's now talking about no longer trying, even though a child would mean everything to both of us. She told me that she can't put herself through this again. How do couples, and women in particular, cope with this? Can you talk about this, please? I need to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that we will have a successful pregnancy. It's so cruel and unfair on her, and me, I suppose. And that's from a guy who just simply signed his name G. And I would love to hear from you on this on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. So you can imagine the situation. They are both filled with delight that they're pregnant and everything's going along fine, and then suddenly miscarriage. Again and again and again. And it has to be desperately upsetting Anyway, she's had 4 miscarriages in the past 5 years, and now she wants to give up trying because she can't put herself through that heartache and that pain anymore. If you've ever been in that situation, I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme or send us a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. If you've any advice for her, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, 6797 981. Angela, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Tell me about your friend without naming your friend, Angela.
They've been going through this now about 4 years with IVF, and every go has turned to a miscarriage. But they're still trying.
Okay, but the point being that she did get pregnant.
Yeah, but it's just not happening. But I think that the hardest thing for couples is when there's no reason for it. Do you understand me? It's like the doctors can't say, well, this is why you're miscarrying, this is why, you know. So with them, it's that little hope, that little ray of light at the end of the tunnel that it will happen.
But I assume after each, and this is very similar, well, not similar in that they're going through IVF as well, but, and they're obviously desperate to have a child, but it has to be soul-destroying after 4 miscarriages.
Oh, absolutely, because let's say in my case I can't have kids, so I know I can't. But when when a doctor can't say why you're miscarrying, why you can't have kids, it is soul-destroying. But you know what? It's that little light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe it's a thing of just take a break and stop trying. Because sometimes that's what happens, is you stop
I know,
trying.
but he did say she had 4 miscarriages in the last 5 years, so it's not like they're constantly trying. Do you know what I mean? They have spaced it out a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, spacing it out a bit because you think that it's just not working. That they're doing IVF, is it?
No, they're not doing IVF. She's just miscarrying her pregnancies, yeah.
Yeah. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. And I suppose my advice to her is maybe go and seek a counsellor, go and speak to someone about it. And I don't know how they're going to stop. Is it she's going to, start taking contraception? She's, but it's very hard for them, I'd say, when one wants to keep going and one doesn't. But if you're desperate for a baby, then you'll do anything, and that's what you think about. Is that at the end of the day, I in my heart and soul feel it will happen for them. It will. Did they say what age they are?
No, he didn't actually. I don't know if that makes much difference, but maybe it does.
Sometimes it can. It's like for 5 years, you don't know, is she 35 now coming on 40? Or is she younger, 30 to 35? Because sometimes the age thing does. It's like, right, the clock is ticking, But in my heart and soul, I believe if you truly want a baby, if that is what you truly want in life, then keep going with it. Just keep going with it. All the heartbreak can turn into something absolutely amazing, and it will be worth that heartbreak.
So worth possibly having more miscarriages, which, as I said, you get the big lift from the news that you're pregnant again, and then the big drop when you lose the baby. Yeah.
Massive drop. But then the thing is, maybe that's what you do. I know it's very hard to say that you go into this going, okay, I'm pregnant. Let's not get too overexcited with this. Let's just see how things progress. That's easier said than done. My heart goes out to them, absolutely. But
yeah, I mean, as I said, she can't cope with the desperation of losing of having another miscarriage, and she wants to just basically give up trying and maybe, I don't know, go back on the pill or whatever the case may be, because she's just finding it so desperately upsetting.
Yeah, well, upsetting, it's hard, it's soul destroying.
So why would you keep putting yourself through? Why would you keep putting yourself through that soul destruction?
Because at the end of the day, that one time might actually happen down the line. Would that be worth it then? You turn around and go, okay, let's go again, let's try again, and the next time could be the one. And I know she's probably said that for the past 3 or 4, that this is the time. But if that's truly what you want in life, if that's really what you want is a child, then you just...
But the feeling that I get from this message is that she just can't cope with the heartache anymore and just wants to give up trying. And if she doesn't get pregnant anymore, then she's not going to miscarry anymore. And then, you know what I mean, that sort of heartache won't be part of her life anymore.
Yeah, but you know what? I think in that side of things as well, Adrian, you live with the what if. What if we had tried again?
All right, stay there for 1 second, Angela. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Let me read the message again that we got through our Facebook page over the weekend, and it says, I've never contacted you before, but I'm at my wit's end. Myself and my partner have been trying for a baby for over 5 years, and she has miscarried 4 times. It's been heartbreaking for each of us on each occasion and is putting a huge strain on us. My partner's feeling very down. We were convinced that this time everything will be okay. But unfortunately, she miscarried again in April, and it broke my heart to see her smile turn to sadness. She's now talking about no longer trying, even though a child would mean everything to us. She told me that she can't put herself through this again. How do other couples cope? How do other couples, and particularly women, cope with this? Can you please talk about this? I need to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel and that we will have a successful pregnancy. It's so cruel and unfair on her and me, I suppose. I would love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. I'm joined by Deirdre Pearce-McDonough, from the chairperson of the Miscarriage Association of Ireland. Deirdre, welcome to 98FM.
Thank you very much.
Deirdre, you heard that message. I was shocked to read that 14,000 women miscarry every year in Ireland. What can you say to somebody like this couple?
I suppose to start with, miscarriage is still very, very common, as you know by the statistics there. And to start with, I'd say, I'm just so very sorry for all your losses. It is heart-wrenching every time, you're so excited that you're pregnant, and then to have those hopes and dreams dashed, by miscarriage and the loss of your baby is it just is really devastating and so hard to deal with and accept.
Now, as you heard in the message, this time they thought it was going to be successful. She miscarried again in April, and he can't cope with seeing her happiness turn to sadness. Is it worth trying over and over and over again?
That's down to the individuals, of course, and their circumstances, and what they feel they can put up with themselves. I suppose it depends how much you want a baby as well, and so the main thing is to talk to each other and see how you're feeling. She said there in the message that she couldn't go through this again, so maybe that's something they need to discuss and make a decision on that.
Now, as I said, 14,000 women a year miscarry, so it's not an uncommon problem. But what causes a miscarriage, and why are some women more prone to it than others?
Unfortunately, I think 95% of cases is probably just nature, which is very sad in itself. And then in the rest of the percentage, there probably could be a medical reason, but I'm sure they've done all the tests and everything like that and exhausted all those avenues.
But yet it keeps happening.
Yeah, so in that case, it's probably, unfortunately, could be unexplained infertility, which is heartbreaking as well. I'm sure they've gone to all the relevant medical people. So it's kind of a double whammy grief then, because you're dealing with the losses and then if you're decided you're not going to try again, that's kind of another grief in itself.
Yeah.
And also infertility in itself is, I know they have become pregnant and lost pregnancies, but infertility itself is another grief. So there's loads of layers there, and they nearly have to break them down and start dealing with them one by one. And you can do that, I suppose, by going to the various organisations.
That's what I was about to say. What sort of support is available to couples or to a woman who has gone through this several times and doesn't know what to do next?
Well, I suppose there's peer-to-peer support, which is what we provide, because we're all volunteers. In the association, we've been through the experience of miscarriage ourselves. So we have support group meetings in Dublin and Cork and Galway. And then we have our telephone support, email support, and we have Facebook and website as well.
Okay, so there is support available there. And your organisation is the Miscarriage Association of Ireland?
Yeah, it's www.miscarriage.ie. So there's lots of useful information there. And also we have Service of Remembrance each year in Dublin in November, and we had one in Galway last year as well. And there's various other things we do, like we had tree planting ceremony last year, and we try to do non-denominational things as well for people. I suppose it's just maybe they could decide to start with doing something tangible, like I think the report there said they had 4 losses, so maybe plant 4 little trees somewhere, or do something in memory of the babies, kind of to start the process of healing, and then discuss where they want to go next as well.
All right. Deirdre Pearce-McDonagh from the Miscarriage Association, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. And I'd like to hear from you on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. We're back in just a moment.
98FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less. 98FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. We got an email from, a Facebook message, a private message through Facebook from G, who talks about how over the last 5 years his partner has miscarried 4 times. It's putting huge strain on their relationship, and she wants to basically give up trying. That's really the point. They don't have any children. They want a child, but it's the heartache that it causes. Now, I'm joined on the line by a lady that we're calling Sarah, and whose voice we have disguised. Sarah, why have we disguised your voice? Tell me why.
It's just that when all of this did happen, my marriage nearly broke up, and I just sort of don't want people knowing how bad it had gotten with me, with depression and nearly losing my marriage over having a miscarriage.
Okay, so was it you miscarried in October 2 years ago? Is that right?
It was indeed, yeah.
And when you say it took a heavy toll, it took a heavy toll on you. Firstly,
yeah, I had really, really bad depression. I completely blamed myself to a point where I felt that even though he was, and I felt really, really sorry for my husband. Now I look back now, and I'd gotten into such a bad place where I couldn't even look at him, and everything he did do, it was wrong. He didn't know what to do with me, because at the end of the day, it is you going through it, and all they can do is stand on the sidelines and tell you you're going to be okay, but you're the one that has to deal with the mental torture of it. So it got into a point where I constantly argued with him. It was because I was in such a deep, deep depression over it.
And did it affect him as much? Because listening to this guy, he says in his message, it's so cruel and unfair on her and me, I suppose. It has to be very difficult on a man as well.
100%. Like I said, they can't fix this sort of wounds, they have to be the stronger person for you. And it's hard. It is. It's extremely hard on men, because they don't know how you're feeling, and all they can do, like I said, all they can do is stand on the sidelines and go, you're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. But it's, they have to lie in bed and think about it as well. It is their child too, and then it's their, their wife or their partner gone through this miserable time, and they just can't take it away from them,
So things were so bad with you, and as a result of the miscarriage, that your marriage almost broke up over it.
Yeah, we had literally only been married in the late July, and we talked about it. We were like, right, we'll try again. We didn't expect it to happen so quick. We were happy, and I like I said, I got into such a deep depression. It was constant arguments. It was constant bickering. I wouldn't look at him. I wouldn't go to bed at the same time as him. It was horrendous.
God, that sounds awful. Yeah.
I got really nasty at one stage and blamed him for it, and I shouldn't have. But I wasn't in a good place, So we had to really work hard to build back up our marriage after.
And how did you? And how are things since?
Like I said, I have good days and bad days. There is times where you think about it. You're like, they would have been a year and 2 months today, or it's good now. We're great now. Like I said, it took a while. It really did. It took a while. But we decided as well that we weren't going to try anymore.
That's what I was about to ask you. That was actually my next question to you.
Yeah, no, we're not. I'm lucky enough. I have kids. We have two, kids. We were boy and a girl, so we're very, very lucky at the moment. But I feel so sorry for any couple setting up sides. Right, we're going to have a baby. The only thing that got me through that was knowing I had two beautiful kids at home. Like, that's the only. I feel so sorry for anyone that hasn't got kids. And
that's what I was about to say. Your situation is slightly different in that you do have children. This particular couple don't have children, but she still wants to give up. She just can't stomach the thought of.
That might change. That might change. You know what? There's only so much of disappointment you can take at one time, and it's only been 5. I think they're trying 5 years. She's had 4 miscarriages.
That's right. Yeah.
It takes a lot out of your body as well. Your body and your mind. Do you know what I mean? And then you keep questioning yourself why and stuff. But I found there's a Miscarriage Ireland. They were absolutely amazing. They were they're really, really supportive group. They have meetings once a month for any women. And the girl, I can't even remember her name that runs it. I'm having about 3 o'clock in the morning emails, where I was so down, and she really, they were absolutely amazing. I recommend any woman, 5 kids or no kids, definitely look them up because they are brilliant.
All right, good to talk to you, and glad to know that things have turned a corner and you've decided not to try again because of the heartache that miscarriage had on you.
As well, it's not the hospital's fault. Do you know what I mean? It was just the experience that I had when we had got the miscarriage, when we had gotten the final scan to determine, because it was a long week of yes and no, yes and no, yes, no, there's still a heartbeat there, no, I know there is a heartbeat. So when we got our final scan and we determined that we had really lost the baby, it was, really sorry you lost the baby, but you can try again in a month. And I remember just lying there and looking and going, oh my God, you seriously don't know how long this week has been, how I didn't sleep last night, knowing I had to get this scan. And you're put into the same room with women. You're sitting there waiting for scans that are getting their 3-month scan or they're getting their final scan, and you're sitting there looking at people, and it is really, really hard. You're looking at other people's happiness, not knowing if you're after losing your baby or not. So I think maybe the hospital set needs to be a little bit more different and a little bit more understanding to women.
And in fact, the next call that I'm about to go to is saying something quite similar. Joanne, you're on 98FM. How are you, Joanne?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
A dub living down in Cork.
Yes, I'm
still listening to Dublin radio. That's good to hear.
Always, absolutely. You can take the girl out of Dublin,
Absolutely. Now, Joanne, tell me your story.
Well, my husband and I have been trying to conceive for 13 years. So within that time, there isn't much we haven't tried. We've gone from IVF, IUI, ICSI, right the way down to Clomid for kind of 15, 16 months. Nothing worked, but we did manage to get pregnant naturally 3 times, which is amazing. But we did miscarry all 3 times in the second trimester. So very disheartening, very hard, very zero support, absolutely zero support out there for mothers having lost babies. Our babies are sent off for testing because they all were in second trimester. The hospitals are very reluctant to do any testing on a fetus, so to speak, but it showed nothing. But I suppose in general, what we've noticed here in Cork especially is that infertility is at an all-time high. And You know, before when we went to the clinic, there was maybe 2 or 3 people waiting. Now it's like a cattle mart. There's so many people in there waiting to be seen. And we're finding the influx of people is absolutely huge. Now, I know that they've been talking about introducing this new, the subsidised the IVF for couples. So they're offering, I think, what is it, about €4,500 per couple from this year. But they've only allocated €1 million to it. So in essence, it's only going to be 222 couples that are going to actually benefit from it. So it's just a vicious circle. There's no support, there's no help, there's nobody there to look after people suffering with infertility, and yet it's classed as a disease. I just don't.
And when you hear the story, the heartbreaking story of this couple having had 4 miscarriages, have you had miscarriages yourself?
Yeah, we've had 3. We've had 3 miscarriages, 3 natural pregnancies, all resulting in miscarriage, all second trimester miscarriage as well. So, you know, they were all difficult. We had to have ER PCs done on each one of them, and then each baby was sent off for testing. Most recently, our last one was March last year, and we haven't been able to conceive since then. So, don't get me wrong, it's not for lack of trying absolutely everything possible. But we just can't seem to get where we need to be, and all the tests have been done. What I would say to the couples that have experienced the 4 miscarriages is definitely get some tests done if they haven't already. There's plenty of clinics out there who will run some tests. They'll look for NK cells, which is natural killer cells. It could be a case where the woman is maybe suffering from maybe PCOS. She may need metformin to relay her glucose levels. There's so many different things that it can be. She may need additional progesterone. She may not be producing progesterone, so they can give her suppositories to use. There's so many different things.
And perhaps one of the issues here, and I can't actually answer this because it just came as a one-way message to us. Perhaps one of the issues here is that she has been suffering in silence and isn't doing or trying to do anything about it.
Well, this is the problem, and I think this is the big problem right across the country. For years, the likes of a miscarriage has been classed as a taboo subject. You know, it's just don't talk about it, brush it under the carpet. And people were reluctant to let them know it's not a miscarriage. You've lost a child. No matter what, you know, how much into the pregnancy you've gone, you have lost a baby. More times than not, a much wanted baby, a much wanted pregnancy, and you've lost that. But people do tend to suffer in silence, and they don't seem to talk about it. And the less they talk about it, the more taboo it becomes. And I think more recently, as you're probably seeing now, people are starting to open up more and more about child loss and make child loss awareness a thing. You know, but still in this country, the support is very, very limited. Down here in Cork, in the biggest maternity hospital we have here in Cork, the CUMH, there is only two bereavement nurses in the entire hospital for a woman experiencing pregnancy. Now, that's to cater for hundreds of thousands of women that go in there. And that's 2 bereavement nurses.
All right, so much more, excuse me, sorry, Joanne, much more support needs to be provided to help women to deal with this. So maybe that is part of the problem, and maybe G, who sent us in the message, because unfortunately you didn't clarify whether or not she has sought counselling and sought help, and medical help, not just for her mental health, but also that there are certain things can be done. Let me read a few of your messages that have come into us. This one came into us from Lisa. And Lisa says, so sad to hear this. I had 4 miscarriages after my 2 older children. I was lucky enough to eventually carry to full term after all the heartache. We now have a beautiful 5-year-old daughter that brightens every day. My heart goes out to that couple. Keep the head up and hopefully it will happen for them. I can't come on air as the conversation will be too distressing for me, says Lisa. And then another message from Jackie. My aunt had 9 miscarriages and went on to have 3 healthy girls. 9 miscarriages, my God. And went on to have 3 healthy girls. I think from then on, when she got pregnant, she spent a lot of time resting in bed, and then she was successful. The doctor at the time said she could not carry boys. And one final text message here, or WhatsApp message. I feel their pain. I've been trying over 8 years and had so many miscarriages. Don't give up, says this message. I think they both need to focus on something else for a while. It does help. I hope one day you will both get your happy ever after. Anne, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Anne?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Anne. You had 3 miscarriages,
I did.
and your point to this couple, to G and his partner, is there is still hope.
Yeah, absolutely. My daughter is now 12. And we had 2 single miscarriages, and then I lost twins there when I was 41. It was a big shock that I was having twins, and we lost them at 12 weeks. And at 44, I was kind of all over the place, irregular, when I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, yeah, you could be hitting the change. And of course, when I went to the doctor, she said, come back to me in a week. And I did a test, and I was pregnant at 44 with my second child after 12 years.
Wow. Right.
So it was a big shock at 44.
And here's the thing. A lot of people don't realise the detrimental or the devastating effect that it can have on a couple, and particularly on a woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people do brush it under the carpet. Ah, yeah, your woman, she had a few miscarriages, as if it's just everyday stuff.
Yeah. I find, though, if you kind of give yourself a break and you get your head out of the space that you're timing yourself and this has to be done today and this has to be done, I think if you give yourself a break from that, your head is in a different place, and it just happens. It's just a miracle. It just happens to people. It happens to people that are on IVF for years, and they just stop all of a sudden and they get pregnant naturally.
Yeah, exactly. So it does happen.
Yeah.
It's just nature, unfortunately. Thank you very much indeed for sharing with us, Anne. And finally, Dave, your wife also had several miscarriages, and you were worried that she would end up resenting you. Why?
You see, she got pregnant. The first pregnancy, she had a miscarriage. Then the second pregnancy with her son was a very, very tough pregnancy. We were in the hospital nearly every weekend for about 4 months. She kept getting bleeds and stuff. And then since then, she's had about 3 more miscarriages. And you see, the thing is, like, the doctors, they never nailed it down. They never said you have this one specific thing going on, but they said as you get older, you may find it harder to conceive. And so they said, if you want to have kids, you should do it now. But financially, we weren't in a place to have another child. We had a comfortable life, and we didn't want to be one of those families that it was like constantly scraping together the pennies. I wanted to be able to have a few pounds to look after my son, not to be worrying week to week. How are we going to pay this bill? How are we going to pay that bill? Trying to be responsible about it. But we've been trying for the last year now, and there's been nothing happening. And I'm worried that as we get older, she might start to resent me for thinking we had a chance at one point to have another child, but we didn't because you were worried about money the whole time. And it's a fear we have, because we have friends who we have a friend. There's 5 days between our 2 kids, and they're the best of mates, and they're after having another child, and now they're trying for another one, and it's everyone around us seems to be having more babies, and we're trying, but there's nothing happening.
And you say that you worry that she would resent you. Why would she resent you? For putting it off?
Yeah, exactly. Because she's a lot more child orientated than I am, and I was always quite happy just to have the one. I was totally happy because, I love my young fella to bits. I think he's the coolest kid in the world. I was always happy to have one, but the older I've gotten, I've started to get broody now myself. And I started to kind of realising maybe we should have tried harder sooner.
Yes.
Because you can always find new ways.
Is it an ongoing issue, Dave? Does it keep coming up?
It's not we're both trying hard now, but we're just being realistic about it. I mean, she's had 5 pregnancies and 1 child. And she was told by doctors, he might be the only child you ever have. Now, we both said if he's the only child we ever have, we're damn lucky because he's brilliant. But, we've had a lot of deaths in the family in the last couple of years, and what we've noticed is, I have brothers that I can lean on for support. She has a brother and family that she can lean on for support. But if we were to pass away in the morning, he has nobody. And I think that's the biggest killer for us, is to think that if anything ever happened to us, he's basically on his own, because I don't really have it be only one of my brothers has kids himself. We have a very small family, as compared to the way families used to be back in the day, where you 5 or 6 kids per, aunt or uncle or stuff like that. In my family, there's only 3 grandkids.
Right, okay. So the point being that in your situation, you perhaps procrastinated far too long where it came to having babies. Let me just read out one final message. I think the emphasis is not on younger girls either, as people seem to think that we are so young that it doesn't matter, we can try again, but it's just the same, says Marie, who I assume is a young woman who has miscarried. Anyway, look, if you have been affected by the issues we've been talking about, the website of the organisation we spoke to a little bit earlier on is miscarriage.ie, and they've lots of they have group meetings, they have lots of tips and advice on their website, miscarriage.ie.
98FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring, Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less. 98FM.
I'm Adrian. That man there is Jeremy, and we want to talk to you about something that all of us have done. Every single one of us has done it at least once, haven't we?
Yes, we've all at one stage sent a WhatsApp to the wrong person, or even worse, sent an image in WhatsApp to the wrong person. I'll get to that in a moment.
One of the beauties of WhatsApp now is you can actually delete the message when you've sent it, but the person will see a note saying this message has been deleted, so they know you sent them something.
But if they've opened it, you can't delete it.
It's too late then.
Once they've opened it, you can't delete it. Well, in the news today, Adrian, it's been revealed that WhatsApp is working on a new feature to basically stop this happening, to stop you sending an image or a WhatsApp to the wrong person. What it's going to do, they're developing this WhatsApp app, and what they're going to do is they're going to give you a kind of, are you sure you want to send this message option?
Right, okay. So you're about to send an inappropriate message. Well, it's appropriate for one person,
yes,
but would be totally inappropriate, for example, for your mother.
Yep.
And just as you're about to hit send, it'll say, are you sure?
But it'll also say the name of the person. So say, for instance, I have an example of this, and it's slightly embarrassing, but about a year ago, my wife used to like me sending her gym pictures of myself in the gym. So I'd be in the gym and she'd say, send me an old picture there. So I'd flex the muscles and I'd send her a WhatsApp photograph.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about spicing up the relationship, isn't it? And keeping her on her toes and stuff.
Yeah, go on, Keeping her on her toes?
What?
All right, yeah, go on anyway.
Well, keeping whoever on their toes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was in the gym changing room and I took my top off. So it was just me in the gym changing room in my shorts, flexing my bicep like that.
Yeah.
And I took a selfie and for some strange reason I was thinking of my mother at the same stage, because I had to go to my mother's that day to pick up something. Anyway, I ended up sending the photograph of me topless flexing my muscles to my mother instead of my wife. And sent it and didn't think anything of it. Thought it had gone to the right person. And then you get the dreaded blue ticks, where the ticks turn blue.
That means it's not only been received, it's been read.
Yeah. And the message back from my mother said, Jeremy, why are you sending me this?
Could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It actually couldn't have been.
It could have been. Okay, we want to know what message you sent to the wrong person, and not just a WhatsApp message, but obviously WhatsApp are dealing with this, and they're going to say, are you sure you want to send the photograph of you and your biceps to your mammy?
Yeah, but it's going to have the name of the person.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to send it to Adrian, it'll say, are you sure you want to send this naked photograph to Adrian? And I'll go, well, actually, no.
No.
Yes.
Indeed, I don't, no. All right, so we want... Joe from Kildare texted in, no, I've never sent a WhatsApp in my life.
Thanks for that helpful text message, Joe. That's absolutely brilliant. Thanks for that.
Who's never sent a WhatsApp? Well, Joe in Kildare.
Do they have WhatsApp in Kildare?
No, they do, but... yeah, okay. Anyway, I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98, or in the case of Joe, just send a text, because Joe has never sent a WhatsApp in her life. Anyway, what message did you send and who did you send it to? Okay, a message that you sent by mistake and you sent it to the wrong person.
Actually, I'm going to WhatsApp my mother now and see if she deleted that photograph. I assume she did.
Well, she's hardly going around, oh, look at my boy, isn't he lovely?
My mother would do that, yeah.
Oh, would she?
She would, yeah.
Okay, text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. What message by either text or WhatsApp did you send by mistake, and who did you send it to? We'd love to hear from you. 6797 981. Now, Lauren, this is a bit embarrassing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Go on, tell me what happened.
My friend sent me this video of the man going around Dublin. I was walking down one of the streets, he was completely naked. I don't know when it happened, but somebody filmed it. But you can see everything. But I was sending it on to my mum, and I clicked on my daughter was actually using my phone, so she was talking to her friend. And when I sent it, I just seen a name that I wasn't meant to be, and I went back into it, and she opened it before I could delete it because I was panicking. And I had to quickly text her, so please do not open that. This is Maddie's mum, please don't open that. Can delete it straight away because our mother would kill me. Oh my God, I nearly died. I was panicking, so I couldn't delete it in time, and she was after opening it, yeah.
Now, it has to be said that this feature that WhatsApp are planning to introduce isn't a bad idea, because although I think if it's asking you the question again, are you sure you want to send this to whoever the child was? I think we'll all start basically ignoring it and just saying yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, well, I won't ignore it.
And did the mother ever find out?
No, well, she never contacted me, no. So she promised me she would have to delete it, and she didn't look at it, I hope. But the blue ticks came before I could delete it, so she did receive it, so she said she deleted it, so hopefully...
Now, it is a great facility to be able to delete a message that you sent to the wrong person, as long as they haven't read it. But if they've read it, then it's too late.
The minute I sent it, she opened it. The second I sent it, it was opened.
Lovely. Thank you, Lauren. What message did you send by text or WhatsApp by mistake, and who did you send it to? Claire, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Claire.
Hiya, Adrian. How are you?
You received the wrong message from your ex-husband.
Well, it wasn't wrong. I thought it might have been wrong, but it wasn't. So I came home and he had sent me a message to end our marriage via text.
Ooh! I always thought this was an urban myth that people would actually do that, would end a marriage by text or WhatsApp.
Yeah, well, no, it's not, because I'm proof that my marriage ended by a text.
Now, what did he say in the text?
He just told me that he didn't love me anymore and he was moving out. So I read the message and then I went home and he was packing.
My God almighty. And what was his issue with telling you straight to your face?
He couldn't do it. He's not great with words.
I know, here.
After 14 years and 2 kids.
I'm moving out is only 3 words.
Yeah.
That's an awful way to end a bloody marriage, I have to say.
After, look, I can laugh about it now.
No, I know, but yeah, I'm sure you didn't at the time. All right,
No,
Claire, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Fiona sent a message to your husband, given out about your husband.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yes, my best friend and myself were going for a cup of coffee one morning, and he had ticked me off to an extent where I texted her, given out about him and what I wouldn't say to him and whatnot, and sent it. So eventually he was going to work and he said, I'm moving my car now. And I didn't know, because in part of the message I had said, you won't even move his blank car, blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, that's fine, thanks. And he said, by the way, he said, you might just send that message on to Anne. I said, or would you like me to forward it to her?
What a great answer.
Yeah.
What a brilliant answer.
So, yeah, a little bit red-faced.
I'd say you were.
I went. Anyway, we're still talking.
That's
it was
to
a
hear.
little while ago.
All right, Fiona, thanks very much indeed. Jules, hiya, Jules.
Morning, guys. How are you doing?
Jules, tell me your accidental message.
Yeah, not as bad as the other one, but it was my son's soccer coach, and I was replying to him saying we're going to be late and things and one thing and another. And so far through the text, like I often do, I forgot who I was texting. And at the end, I put a load of can't wait to see you later on, and kisses, a lot of X's, and then emoji kisses and hearts at the end.
Oh, no.
And absentmindedly sent it. And then as it was, and I wouldn't mind, I knew him and his wife very well. And then I copped who I'd sent it to, and I was absolutely mortified, and I got the grief.
Did you have a crush on this soccer coach?
No, not at all. I forgot who I was texting, and I was thinking about texting my mate and things, and I got my messages mixed up and thinking about one thing and another, and I apologised straight away. I sent another text. I'm really, really sorry. It wasn't meant for you. I forgot who I was texting, blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, did I get the pee taken out of me at soccer training in front of all the dads later on and things.
That's a brilliant story. Well done, Jules. Thanks very much indeed for your story. And thanks for all the... I'd love to take more calls on that. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. That's always the way, isn't it? Always the way. We are back with you again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Barry Dunn is on the way. He is live from Dundrum Town Centre. And in the next hour, he's got some great music lined up like these.
For you.
98FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less. 98FM.